Sam Garcia. I'm one of the co-founders of PolitiFund. Our motto is bringing elections into the 21st century. I'm going to dive into that a lot more later on. I'm sorry I'm not presenting any sort of life-saving technology as we've been presented thus far. We could change some lives though, right? So here's the problem that we noticed as a company. Local and municipal elections are losing a lot of really small-time donations. The reason being is because they don't have the money or the time to run a website. So if you're like a council member, school board member, you don't have the budget, you don't have the time, you probably don't have the personnel to upkeep a website, and you definitely don't have enough time to run a secure financial database that would facilitate these sort of transactions. This means they're leaving a lot of these donations on the table, as well as a lot of really important analytics about where their donors are and what those donors want, right? So they know where to press for more money, and they know what to say to get more support, right? So our solution here. We plan on providing a platform that will be as easy to make as a Facebook profile. You go on there, you put your information, you put your bank account, I guess you can do that on Facebook now too. And what we will provide you is a platform to collect small donations, ways to collect important info or to display important info about your candidacy, provide you with some really cool analytics about where your donors are, where you need to go in your district, and as well as like geomapping where they are. So one of the databases right now is called Van, and what they do is they provide you with this list, just this endless list that's not interactive at all. Doesn't quite show you where the donors are, right? So we plan on updating that going forward from there. And we plan on giving every person that donates an option to fill out a survey that we'll call Smart Vote. Why Smart Vote? Well, frankly, because it sounds cool. No, it's because it gives you an option to say what you want your candidate to hear, and really gives your candidate the option to listen. We also plan on providing a lot of automated CRM for the candidates. Now this is kind of an issue, right? You donate, you want a thank you email, you want a Christmas card from your candidate if they win, things like that. We plan on automating for the candidate for a small fee. So our business model is super simple. It's a simple crowdfunding site for all sorts of politics and things like that. So here, your donor, make a donation, 95% goes to the campaign, 5% goes to us. That easy, right? Things not outlined here that are coming to us as well, information, other sort of important analytics that we can soon come up with. So the industry of political crowdfunding, pretty new, made its advent with Barack Obama and is currently doing really well with Bernie Sanders. And a lot of the companies that are doing it right now are really focused on congressional races or Senate races, right? I think this really limits what they're doing because, there's a lot of FEC rules they have to follow, all sorts of things like that. And I really think it strays away from the grassroots things that you can do on the ground with local municipal campaigns. Also, it brings up the question of why wouldn't you just go to their website and donate already? Why would you use a middleman? Right? And I'll get into that when I get to the competitor slide. So in some of these sites, we found a lot of gaps in their service. Whereas they provide help with fundraising and even analyzing data, they don't do the full data spectrum or the analytics that we plan on providing, and they definitely don't offer any sort of CRM. So our target market. We plan on our initial base being local municipal races across the state of Texas. That's 254 counties, 1,216 incorporated cities, 822 justice courts, and 1,266 school districts. Now I've been practicing my auctioneer voice, so I'm going to go ahead and get into this. 254 counties means 254 county judges, 254 county sheriffs, 254 county commissioner boards, and the list goes on, right? So roughly in Texas, these local municipal races raise about $300 million. Now, how did I get to that number? Afterwards, I'll show you if you want. I love mental math, so it'd be like a little treat for me. But that's the figure we came up with, right? Through our things that we've collected and other figures. We even believe that our data and CRM services can be good enough to capture people that already have websites, right? If you have a website and it has a donate button on it, that means that you're contracting out to someone like PayPal. They may be collecting analytics for you, but they're not providing the CRM and other data analytics that we plan on providing, which we think will justify the service fee later on. So moving forward, our roadmap. So first, we plan on providing a functional website with all the things I've been talking about thus far, something that's aesthetically pleasing and collects funds, provides the data, and all the other services. For the second version, like a V2, we plan on moving forward and creating an app for the campaigns to manage their pages through. And we also plan on incorporating like a Kickstarter type reward system. If you donate $20, you get a shirt. And what we'll do for that is we'll integrate a company that already makes the shirts, and we'll take a percentage of their sale. We actually won't touch the shirt at all. And we'll already have your home address because you have to put that down as far as some of the information. And I'll get into that a little more later. Finally, and I think the value-driven part of this is the data we collect. After a large amount of people donate to PolitiFund, we'll eventually be sitting on a huge database full of all sorts of interesting data, all things that we could analyze, and we think that we could package that into something really valuable. So here's a donation page layout. A lot of you may be thinking, how are you going to collect survey data? Because that's actually one of the biggest things that one of the most valuable pieces of data that we plan on collecting. So right here you have your donor info, right here you got your donation amount, and here we have this thing called Smart Vote, right? Where you can fill in a certain issue that you like or that you're really gunning for. And here you have like 3 questions that can be provided by the candidate and maybe a few that we provide ourselves to gauge where you are. So here are our main competitors. And since this is an ATI, I guess, first pitch day, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, dark blue indicates that I'm really not worried about them. Why? Because they're focusing solely on congressional races and they're powered by issues, meaning they're taking an entirely different route to get to like a different crowd that we're not even going for. PayPal is just a plugin. So that means you have a website, you plug them in, and then you donate to them, right? Now these are the guys I'm worried about. Pyrex, Fundly, and QGive. They do something that's pretty similar, right? So Pyrex, the reason I put them in descending order of how worried I am about them. Pyrex itself provides a service pretty similar. However, their page and everything about them seems pretty old, outdated, and they really don't have much service outside of the fundraising. Fundly provides a lot of the same services, but they don't provide the data analytics that we want and the CRM that we plan on giving, right? QGive is probably the closest, but we see that they're not really too developed, they're really new, and again, they don't provide the CRM and the data analytics that we plan on providing, as well as the survey, which we think is huge, right? None of these do that. So that's our competitor outline there. So our competitive position and what we plan on doing. Well, we plan on providing a flat-out better service than our competitors and moving quickly to capture really large portions of the market. From this, we hope to create a sort of lock-in effect. The people that will be signing up on our websites are campaign managers. These are not like tech industry people, you know? They're going to stick with what they know, and once they start using us, it'll be hard to switch. And the aggregate switching costs after we sign up a ton of campaigns will be pretty large, right? And hopefully that'll create some sort of network effect that'll get their competitors and other people to sign up as well. And currently, these are the unique services that we plan on providing. Geomapping, various CRMs, I've probably said that acronym like 10 times now. And most importantly, the survey data collection that we're going to collect through Smart Vote. Now here are our co-founders. This is Oscar Longoria. He's one of the first people to jump on board. He's a state representative from District 35. He recently became the Vice Chair of Appropriations, and he's just an incredibly great partner to have in this realm. He's really powerful in local politics, and he has ties across the state to help us gain a lot of traction really, really, really fast, and that's probably what's the most exciting about this project. He's also young, which makes him kind of an anomaly. Usually people with that kind of power or that kind of position are much older. He's young enough to understand the tech behind the idea, which makes it much easier to work with him, right? Now, the next co-founder is my brother Rico. This is a picture of him live doing what he does best, in court. He is just graduated from U of H Law, and he has a ton of experience working on campaigns. He's probably worked on 20 or 30 to this day and has won most of them.
30 seconds.
Has been on winning competitions most of the time. Then there's a picture of me when I was 12 and chubby, and then moving to an up-to-date photo of me now. I'll add the hat was supposed to go on the other way. Anyways, so a little bit of background on myself. I'm a UT Business Honors graduate, just graduated last week. I'm deciding on whether I should defer going to Harvard Law because I just got in, and I would be going there in the fall should I kill this idea. If I don't, I'll be deferring here. So other than that, I'm a best-selling author because I found a way to game Amazon's system of bestsellers. It's a really interesting story. If you want to know more about it, I'll tell you about it. And now I'll introduce you to a picture I got off of Google Images in the stock photo section. And any questions? Yes, sir.
All right, great pitch. So a bunch of stuff we'll be working on in the summer, but I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now, possibly a kind of a foundational flaw, is that you're doing 4 different things right now, and that's 3 too many. So I think that's one of the big things we're going to have to figure out is so, I mean, you talk about the donations being the key thing, but then I see CRM, the smart vote, and there's one other thing I'm forgetting right now. So that sounds easy right now, but that's going to be really challenging.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we could work on breaking that down into stages and maybe implementing them as like layers, right? And these are the reasons I'm here, to learn as like when I should or what I should be doing, how much of it at the same time, and when. So yes, the donations and the funds we collect will be our main business source, but working on integrating more value to the campaigns is going to be crucial, especially when we start encountering some competition from those people I was noting before.
You use the smart vote as your differentiator. What questions are you going to be able to answer for the data that you're collecting?
So that's actually a great question. So like, I'll give you a quick anecdote, right? There's this guy named Abraham Balaron. He was running in the Valley. His district was shaped like a bow. There's 2 populous areas in Mission and Far. His political consultant was like, hey man, we got Far. Don't worry about it. We didn't worry about it, right? He used his usual platform. Even though he was advocating for the issues that people wanted in Far, he never pushed that on his message. So when they in the smart vote thing, you can go in there, you can fill out the things you want to say, like whether it be veterans issues or women's health care. Badron himself was pushing women's health care. People in Far wanted to hear about veterans. He lost it 80 to 20. And
so is the information for the candidate, or is it for the candidate?
The information is absolutely for the candidate. And after we collect a good amount of it, let's just say there's 100 school board districts, 8 school board districts in a county. There's 100 school board members. If we sign them all up, or all those races, eventually the aggregate of that data will become very useful for the congressional race that's going to happen in that district. All right?
Okay, I got a question. So
Yes,
you
ma'am.
said your customer is the campaign manager.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
does the campaign manager then have to provide the donor list to you guys? Or how does that information, I guess I missed how the donor list is handled.
I'll go through it really
Why
quickly.
would you want to give away your donor list? Isn't that kind of a proprietary piece of information?
Well, they're going through us, so we will have that information to people who donate. Again, on its face, this website is nonpartisan, so you can be Republican, you can be Democrat, it doesn't really matter, right? So I guess the data collected, I guess if you collected it yourself, would be proprietary, but since it's through us, we're probably going to have some sort of disclaimer stating that we partially own the data and we have the right to sell it, which I think is like the deal.
And then, so that means the campaign manager has to tell you how much that person donated so you can collect your 5%?
Okay, so like they go on the website, they donate the money, we know how much they donated. And then as it's going, the transaction goes, right? 95 goes to the campaign, 5 goes to us. We know that. Like it's all through the website. We'll know how much they gave. That's not something we'll release. What we can't really say to the public, it's more so like the sale of like voter information. Still not making sense.
So I
They
mean,
do.
are you only acquiring new donors, or are you going back to old?
So they have
people that
donors that have donated like $500, $600, but in this new age, we're realizing that there's a lot of people that want to donate $5, want to donate $10, and those people are still in the game.
And those are going to be new people that they don't actually have on the donor list.
Yes, because they haven't had an outlet to donate to, and they're probably really lazy and don't want to go to a bunch. Just being honest.
Well, I think the other thing you should point out is that you're not going after the groups that actually have the donor list, right? That's why you said, county commissioners.
Mhm.
Like, I dealt on a county commissioners campaign. They don't have anything. They walk door to door to get, so
Yeah.
they don't have donor lists. So,
Mhm.
my question for you is, I guess this is insight in looking at your stuff. I was actually looking at Crunchbase for your competitors, and it looks like they're getting acquired at down rounds if you go look. So there's something in that space that you need to understand why they're not doing that well. The 3 that you had, Fundify got bought by a company that just raised $1 million, and they raised $7.5 million.
Wait, who got bought?
Fundify.
Fundify?
Yeah, Fundify got bought by nonprofit Easy. So my only point to this is on the competitor side, it's not just knowing who they are, but understanding how big they are, how much money they're making, what's going on, how much have they raised.
Mhm.
Like I think if Favor knew that their competitors have raised over $100 million, you know, did they know and did they behave differently knowing what they were doing?
Yeah.
So
Um,
you just need to understand the competitors beyond the names.
Yeah, and going back to the point that Isaac made a while back, kind of, going down on the issue and really downsizing on it. I think what I wanted to see a lot more than their financials or how well they were doing is how many political campaigns they had signed up. And from the local campaigns I talked to, it seemed like nobody had a platform, or at least in the state of Texas, or in the places I went to, which is Brazoria County, Austin, San Antonio, and the Rio Grande Valley. So that was what was very interesting to me.
I think that's important, but I think so. Let's split between what you're looking for in a solution and what an investor is looking for in an investment.
Okay.
An investor wants to know that the market they're investing in actually will return them a reasonable return for their investment.
Absolutely.
So even there are a lot of solutions that don't make a lot of money.
Mm.
And if an investor, obviously when I pitch companies, frequently the venture capitalists will have looked at my competitor set and will decide whether or not the gross margins, the free cash flows, and all that in the industry are interesting to them before they even look at what my solution is. So I think for the kind of business you have, a lot of the technology we're looking at is long term, but yours is like now. And so understanding what the business models are and what the returns are for investors, I think is important.
And I haven't, or nobody's asked me this question, and I prepped for it a lot because I thought someone was immediately going to ask it. But seasonality of elections, right? That's definitely something to be worried about as far as cash flow for investors. So when there's not a political race happening in Texas, there's one happening in Michigan. When there's not one in Michigan, there's one in California. When there's not one in California, there's one in New York. And I practice watching voice just for this exact one because I'm going to be running out of time.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.